Hello and welcome to a new week here on Granada Reports.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. Here's what's coming up on tonight's programme.
Police and private security guarding mourners at the funeral of Adrian Dalby, one of the heroes of the Manchester synagogue attack. Tonight, so many are asking a terrible question. In a society increasingly divided by hate, are any Jews safe anymore?
It shouldn't happen to anybody, you know. Anybody should be able to go about their business, go about their whatever they're doing, feeling completely safe and in this wonderful country that we live in.
Jail for the Playboy fraudster who called himself the Kardashian of Cheshire to con victims out of thousands in a luxury handbag scam.
Plenty of cherry and white out wide. Banks gets it away with Jones. Double!
Make ours a treble while literally no one could stop Wigan's women.
And in the weather, after a lively weekend across the northwest and the Isle of Man, everything is calming down now, so listen up for the full forecast. It's coming up shortly.
So first, there was a heavy police presence plus private security as mourners gathered to honour Adrian Dalby, one of the heroes of the Manchester synagogue attack.
Yeah, Adrian was accidentally struck by a stray police bullet as he bravely barred the door to an armed attacker at the Heaton Park synagogue.
After a big rise in anti-Semitic hate crime since the start of the Gaza war 2 years ago, the killing of two of their own in Manchester has left many members of the Jewish community feeling like they're no longer safe in their own country.
Our correspondent Mel Barham has the latest. Her report starts with a security guard talking of the moment he confronted the attacker.
I saw evil, I saw hatred, and I was terrified.
Ivor was working as a security guard on Thursday outside the synagogue in Crumsall. He spoke to the attacker just moments before he struck.
I asked him what he was doing and he gave me a story. He was looking for his car, which I knew wasn't true. Alan told him to go away. This is a synagogue and it's a holy day and we're praying. And he says, I can go wherever I want. This is a free country. And he looked at me and he says, what are you looking at? With hatred in his eyes. And then he said, I'm going back up the stairs into the synagogue. And as I reached the top stair, I heard this almighty bang. And I turned around and I saw a car smashed against the gate. And he was banging on the doors, trying to be let in. He had a knife in his hand, threatening to kill us all.
Behind that door, trying to stop him getting in, was Adrian Dalby. The 53-year-old is thought to have been accidentally shot by police and died alongside the other victim, Melvin Kravitz. At Adrian's funeral today, he was described as a caring, quiet man who will forever be remembered as a hero.
He was just there, and the next minute he was like slumped on the radiator. He looked as if he was asleep, peaceful, calm, and somebody felt the pulse and said, you know, that was it. But this shouldn't happen to anybody. It doesn't matter Jewish or Muslim or Sikh or Hindu or no religion at all. Anybody should be able to go about their business feeling completely safe and in this wonderful country that we live in.
Rob, who knew Adrian, said his last words to him were very poignant.
Had a joke with him because he always used to sit with a bottle of water, and I said to him, Adrian, what's missing this morning? And his last words to me, smiled at me and goes, Rob, as it's Yom Kippur, I try to do the best I can. Okay, I try and fast, and all I can do is do the best I can. And I said, have a good Yom to fast well. And those were the last words I ever exchanged with him.
Never have Jews in the UK been under such attack.
At a rally yesterday in Manchester city centre, hundreds turned out to show their support despite the growing fear amongst this community.
People are worried. They're scared to go out, some of them. The kids, I take my grandchildren to pick them up from school and they've got security. They've got gates 10 foot high it's just to go to school.
I was on the tram leaving from Manchester and somebody shouted out, next stop Auschwitz. That went through me like a knife.
We have nowhere to go. we're just not wanted here anymore. And it's not just from specific communities, it's very specific coming from the top down.
Today, police sought to reassure the community.
We've very significantly increased both our visible and covert presence across the city region. They are now on the ground, highly visible. We want to reassure, we want to defend, and we want to make sure that wherever anything might occur or might be worried about, that we're in a great position to respond.
The road outside the synagogue was reopened today and residents allowed home. But as life begins to return, this place of worship wears the scars of Thursday's attack. A single bullet hole visible on the door, a new symbol of the division that this community is now feeling. Mel Barham, ITV News, Manchester.
Well, joining us now is Mark Levy, who's the Chief Executive of the Jewish Representative Council of Greater Manchester. Mark, we heard some really shocking accounts there. The gentleman on the tram overhearing somebody shouting, "Next stop, Auschwitz." What is it like to be a Jew in Manchester, not just this last few days, but in the last few years as well?
Sadly, over the last 2 years, it's been incredibly difficult being Jewish across Greater Manchester. Whenever there is conflict in the Middle East, we always see a surge in hate crime targeting Jewish people. But what we have endured since October the 7th, 2023 is absolutely appalling. We have continuously raised our concerns about how we've been discriminated against in all sectors, whether that's on university campuses or schools or in workplaces, and even in the NHS, where some doctors are guilty of the most egregious cases of anti-Semitism. And I want to particularly focus on an issue that's come to light over the past few hours with the cultural spaces where Jewish people have been cancelled on one hand and anti-Semites have been hosted on the other. So in January, the Bridgewater Hall hosted Sheikh Al-Afasi, who is a foreign preacher who has engaged in appalling anti-Semitism and celebrated October the 7th. When we raised these issues with the venue, they were initially ignored. And when we met with them, we were dismissed out of hand. We were made to feel like we were being unreasonable. It subsequently transpired that the terrorists who attacked my community on Thursday, on Yom Kippur, the holiest day of the year, had been following this sheikh online. It's recently been reported in the last few hours. And therefore, it's not inconceivable, is it, that he would have been at the Bridgewater Hall that evening.
So you feel like your community's just not being listened to?
Well, we've raised our concerns about these marches at the highest levels of government, and the very fact that repeatedly we have seen our city centres turned into no-go areas for Jewish people, when people who are supporting the Palestinian cause, which is a perfectly legitimate cause to support, but what is not acceptable is those who engage in hate crime. So when they are chanting about intifada revolution or globalised intifada or hunting down Zionists in the street, what that means is what we saw on Thursday, the death of British Jews in cold blood.
I was just going to say, Mark, the synagogue that came under attack, that's your family place of worship, isn't it? And your dad was actually on security on Thursday and helped barricade the door. You must be so proud of him. How's he doing?
Yeah, look, the whole community are deeply traumatised, obviously. We are actively questioning our future here in the United Kingdom. We're British and we're Jewish, and those identities sit alongside one another in perfect harmony. And we need some reassurance that this country is going to be as kind to our children as it has been to our families for generations now. But the synagogue itself is somewhere I've been to since I was a little child, and I've seen my children grow up there as well. The rabbi spoke at Adrian Dolby's funeral earlier that I was at, and he said that when he went into the synagogue for the first time yesterday evening, it was like frozen in time. All the prayer books were still at the same pages that they were at when the attack happened. And some very brave people, one of whom is my father, needs to be recognised because they put their bodies on the line and went against every human instinct and ran towards instead of away from danger.
Yeah, an incredibly brave man. Let's hope this awful, horrific incident is a line in the sand going forward. Mark Levy, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Well, on to some more of the day's news, and a man has been jailed for life for raping and robbing 3 people in Manchester city centre. Sid Ali Djalid from Smedley Road in Manchester attacked the 2 men and a woman between February and July last year by preying on and attacking intoxicated victims. The 39-year-old, who went on to steal their phones and credit cards, must serve at least 16 years before he can be considered for parole.
A murder investigation is underway in Liverpool after a woman was found dead at her home in Dovecot. 68-year-old Rose Johnston was found with head injuries on Ancroft Road at lunchtime on Saturday. Detectives say they're tracing her movements in the days leading up to her death and are asking for anyone with information or footage that could help their investigation to come forward.
Next, the party conference season is coming to a close with the Conservatives gathering in Manchester.
Yeah, it's a hugely important event for the party, lagging well behind Reform UK in the polls. Some are saying the Conservatives are losing their relevance, especially here in the North West, where they only have 3 MPs left after a disastrous general election last year.
Well, we can cross live to our political correspondent, Leisha McNally. Leisha, the Conservative Party's future. Discuss.
Well, that's the killer question, isn't it? Look, their political opponents will declare that the Conservative Party is dead. If that's true, welcome to the resuscitation attempt. On camera, North West Tories admit that they have a lot of work to do, and off camera, they'll say that this really is make or break for Kemi Badenoch because she's fighting on 2 fronts. On the one hand, they are the official opposition, and you will hear a lot of Labour bashing on the conference floor. They're going after the government on issues like taxation and the welfare bill. But on the other hand, look at the polls, and it's clear who the real enemy is for the Tories, hoping to hang on to their last remaining North West seats. And the party seem to know it too. They're even giving out these novelty props to journalists, implying that Reform UK's funding announcements are written on the back of a fag packet. Nigel Farage really does haunt this conference. And if you look at the last few months, you can see why. Reform UK not only won the by-election in Cheshire, they also booted the Conservatives out of Lancashire County Council. This week, we've had the first chance to speak to Kemi Badenoch since that defeat. And I started by asking her why Reform's message is landing so much better than hers.
Because they're not Labour and they're not the Conservatives. Conservatives had a historic defeat last year. We went down to the lowest number of MPs. I'm the new leader and I am drawing a line under that, acknowledging where we made mistakes, apologising, immigration too high, tax burden too high. But what is extraordinary is that Labour won a landslide, historic majority. We now have the most unpopular Prime Minister we've ever had.
Labour did very badly. They lost 27 councillors, but you lost 40. Is this the end of the Conservative Party in the North West?
Well, no, not at all. And remember, we lost those seats after historic highs. It was unlikely we would ever do that well again.
On that historic high, you had 25 MPs in the Granada region before the general election. Now you've got 3. Can you win the Red Wall back without Boris Johnson?
Yes, of course we can, but we will only do that with a credible plan to deliver a stronger economy and a credible plan to deliver stronger borders. We are not going to do what Keir Starmer did, wasting his time in opposition, just waiting for the other party to fail. We are coming up with proper plans, which, unlike Reform, aren't going to fall apart the minute people start asking questions.
You've pledged to tear up what you call restrictive climate change laws, but will you rule out fracking in the North West?
I have said that fracking is something that local communities need to decide. What I'm really worried about is that manufacturing is disappearing. Ceramics, car manufacturing, oil and gas is disappearing in the North Sea, while we're importing oil and gas from Norway, who haven't stopped drilling.
So you won't bring in an outright ban on fracking were you to be in
Local
government?
communities need to make those decisions. I think that that is the best way forward. We need to use more of our own energy.
So, details pending, but the challenge for Kemi Badenoch over the next few days will be to flesh out her strategy and energise her party as she prepares to send her troops out to fight for what could be the future of the Conservatives.
Leisha, thank you.
Well, next to a fraudster who called himself the Kardashian of Cheshire, who's been jailed for 6 years.
Yes, through his social media account, Jack Watkin promised to buy and sell luxury handbags, but in fact, he conned friends and family out of around £200,000.
Well, when arrested, police seized his phone and found around 900 indecent images of children. As well as being jailed, he was put on the sex offenders register for 10 years.
Jennifer Buck was at Chester Crown Court.
Jack Watkin lived a millionaire lifestyle funded by other people's false investment. He showed off his family's wealth, appearing in the rich kids of Instagram when he was 17. More recently, he notched up a bill of more than £130,000 staying at the Dorchester Hotel in London. His five-star way of life was all documented on social media. The judge said that Watkin used an outward persona as somebody wealthy to dupe his victims. He noted that all his victims were close to him, including his own dad and several close friends. Jack Watkin was dressed in a beige T-shirt and jacket, and he showed little emotion as he listened to the impact his fraud had on those closest to him. He befriended and then conned Christine Colbert, using her shop in Prestbury as a base to visit her and share their love of luxury handbags. He persuaded his victims to loan him large sums of money to invest in brands like Hermes that he said would be sold on for a profit. Today, Christine faced her former friend in court.
He didn't look at me, but I looked straight at him and I delivered my statement directly to him so he could understand what he'd put me through, how it made me feel. And also, I wasn't there just for myself. I was there for every victim in this case, and I'm also here today and stood there on behalf of all the other victims that he hasn't come forward. I mean, there may be a £200,000 fraud in relation to this case. We all know it's a lot more than that.
He existed in a world of social media, one where he had no bank account, he was bankrupt, and unfortunately was taking our victims' money to fund a lavish lifestyle. So we would welcome the 6 years today.
The 26-year-old was arrested in March last year, and when police seized his phone, they found more than 900 indecent images of children. Today, he was sentenced to 4.5 years in prison for fraud and 18 months for the indecent images. Jennifer Buck, ITV News in Chester.
OK.
Right, well, it's time for sport now, and Manchester City's manager wants to celebrate another record by taking out two legends for dinner. So, David, where does he need Chris and me? We're ready.
Come on.
Sorry, no, not broadcasting legends. He's talking about footballing ones. Yours are still in the post. Sorry about that, guys. Yes, the City boss, well, he wants to have a dinner date with Sir Alex Ferguson and Arsene Wenger. What, that would be good, wouldn't it? Well, next to the Women's Super League, where there was a late winner for Manchester City as they beat Arsenal 3-2. They're now just a point behind the leaders Chelsea, who drew with United on Friday. Well, elsewhere, Everton drew 1-1 away at Leicester City. And Liverpool is still looking for their first win under Gareth Taylor after losing 1-0 to London City Lionesses. Now, in the Football League, Crewe are in League 2 action tonight away at Harrogate, while in the Championship, Preston North End are up to 4th in the table after beating Charlton 2-0. Blackburn needed a late goal to draw 1-1 with Stoke. In League 1, Stockport picked up a good 2-1 away win at Huddersfield. Bolton beat bottom club Peterborough 2-1. Wigan drew 1-1 with Plymouth, while Blackpool's defeat saw Steve Bruce sacked. And back to League 2, where Tranmere drew 3-3 with Bromley. Barrow had a goalless draw with Shrewsbury, and the rest lost.
Getting that winning feeling. FOW, sponsor of the Granada Sport Report.
Well, to Rugby League now, and while Wigan Warriors men can look forward to a grand final with Hull KR on Saturday, their women's team can look back on a treble-winning season after claiming the Challenge Cup and League Leaders Shield. Dennis Betts' side completed the clean sweep of trophies by winning the grand final at the Brick Community Stadium. Once again, they were up against their big rival St Helens. 3 tries in 8 second-half minutes saw the advantage swing Wigan's way. And despite a late comeback from St Helens, the Warriors went on to celebrate a famous 16-12 win for a very record crowd for a women's grand final of 5,000.
It's absolutely amazing. We've waited so long for this. 2018 was the last time we won a grand final. Last time we were even in one. This is absolutely fantastic. Our girls have worked so hard this year, and I'm so proud of every single one of them.
Yeah, it's great. It's been a challenging season, but we set these challenges so we could put ourselves to the test, and we did it. And I think you can see on everyone's face it's a privilege.
This is a fantastic stadium. This is a great club. Love being part of it. The girls love being part of it. Broken a record again with the attendance. Yeah, it's just a good place to be.
Yes, well done to them. And finally, in basketball, Manchester beat last season's playoff champions Leicester Riders. After a tight game, the home side dominated the fourth and final quarter to win their Super League fixture 87-72. Yeah, well done to them as well. What a week for Wigan as well. Treble winners in the women's, and of course they're the defending champions in the men's game as well. So they could have 2 winners. Unbelievable. What's in the water there?
I would ask you that question, but being from Wigan, I know what's in the water there, and it's just things that make people shine.
Oh,
we love it.
You're all winners, Chris. You're a winner. They're all winners.
I was going to say, what's in the pies?
Okay. Do you know, can we have some though?
Oh yeah. Thanks very much, David. Right, it's time now for a look at the weather. Here's Emma.
Mum, wet wipes, toilet or bin?
Bin. Why?
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Hello there, I hope you've had a good day, a quieter day than we had over the weekend. Storm Amy certainly caused some disruption, but a quieter week moving forward with pressure building from the south. Some patchy rain at times, especially for the first part of the week, but everything settling down for the weekend and maybe some issues with fog by night from midweek onwards. Not so much tonight, however, cloud coming and going, 1 or 2 clearer spells as well. Touch of mist and fog forming over the tops of the hills, but too breezy for anything to form at lower levels, and maybe a spit of drizzle out of any thicker cloud, as you can see, but all of that does tend to hold our temperatures up, so it's quite a mild night. Winds ease and fall out further inland to the northwest of England, but over the Isle of Man, through the Irish Sea, at the coast and over the tops of hills. Still quite gusty tonight, still gusts of 30-40 miles an hour in places. It's really tomorrow night before they tend to ease back down totally. Talking of which, well, Tuesday the sun is up 7:23, sets about 25 to 7 in the evening, and it's a bit overcast first thing tomorrow. And then we've got this cold front dropping in from the northwest, which could bring some patchy light rain and drizzle to parts of Lancashire, Lancaster, the Isle of Man, as well. As you can see, 1 or 2 brighter spells just hanging on there further to the south through parts of Cheshire. Again, lighter winds inland across the Isle of Man, the winds starting to ease down as we head into the evening, and then overnight maybe 1 or 2 patches of frost here and there through parts of Cumbria and Lancashire and across the Isle of Man, but elsewhere there'll be quite a bit of cloud. And also it's a harvest moon, supermoon, Tuesday night into Wednesday. Very little chance of seeing it really for many of us, though. A lot of cloud around, but brighter on Wednesday, cloudier on Thursday. Bye-bye.
Cleaned up well.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Right, I want to talk about Wigan some more, because after the women winning the grand final, Wigan's men will be at Old Trafford tomorrow, looking ahead to their own grand final this week.
Yeah, best of luck to them. So join us for that tomorrow. But for now, from all of us here, we wish you a very good night. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.